A landing page is a very powerful tool when it comes to getting your customers to take a specific action. So let's talk about how to build one. Now, your landing page you could think of as your digital real estate. It's your home on the internet that helps drive your customers to take a specific action. Now, because it's so focused on a specific goal, I want to call out that this is different from your website. Your website might have all of the information that your customer might need to understand your business, what you're about, if there's any jobs available, as well as what your landing page might be marketing. But a landing page is very specific to a marketing objective. It has limited navigation so that customers aren't distracted by the other things they could do on the site. It also has very specific and consistent language with other marketing channels that you might be using in a particular campaign. So if you think about a Twitter post that might link back to a landing page, it's really important that the messaging on your Twitter as well as the messaging on the landing page match. Now, that's not necessarily true of a website and a landing page. Now let's go through some of the basics of a good landing page. For starters, you want to have a clear logo. You want your customers to understand who they're talking to, especially if your landing page is secondary to a larger website. You want to make sure that they can draw the connection. You also want to make sure that you have prominent contact information. So again, because your landing page is so focused on getting the customer to take a specific action, if they want to continue the conversation or maybe they want more information, it's really important that they don't have to search hard to find that info. Now, you also want to make sure that if you're asking them for something, so whether it's an email or a phone number or more information, that you keep that list or contact form short and sweet. Now, the reason being is because at any point that a customer is filling out information, they could decide that it's too much and stop. And that's not what we want to do. We want to make it as easy and as efficient for them to give us what we need to reach our marketing objective. Now, because landing pages are so focused on marketing objectives and a specific goal, there should be one really strong call to action on the page as soon as they get there. So there's no confusion about what you want them to do. And you also want to make it really clear why they should make that step. So if you want them to download an app, your value propositions should be really clear on the page explaining what they're going to get out of taking that action. Now, trust indicators and social proof are also really important, especially if you need to give your customer a little bit of a push in the direction of taking that action that you want them to take. So having social proof or reviews and testimonials are a really great way to show them that people before them have tried what you're asking them to do and they've had success. Now let's take a look at this example. Now on this landing page, there's a super clear header of what is desired. There's a really clear way to collect contact information that's short and sweet. And there's clear benefit statements that show what you get out of signing up. Now, at our core, we are trying to do something similar. We want to create very simple, direct landing pages that drive our customer to take a specific action. So this is all we're trying to get to. Now let's take a look at some more examples. Now with this landing page, you can see that the headline and the subheadline are grabbing your attention and pulling you in. Now it's the same concept where we want the customer on this landing page to actually provide an email, but as you can see, the value prop is embedded in that header. So it's very clear that this is the benefit, this is the story of why I should be a participant or why I should activate. So your headline and your subheadline become very important. Also, emotional imagery is very important. As you saw on the last slide, and as you see here, there's a lot of information that can be shared just by looking at something. Now here we have an infographic, and this infographic is really simple, but at the same time, what it's doing is it's conveying information both with words as well as with imagery. And that's our goal. we want to make sure that we're conveying as much as possible with the imagery that we use or with the words and the styling of those words on the page. Now, copywriting is really important because it's how we write the content on our pages. Now, with our headline, we want to make sure that the headline is actually mentioning our unique value proposition. We want it to be really clear so that they don't have to read any of the rest of the landing page to know what we're about and why they should take action. Now, if you need additional content, that's where the subheader comes in. So it's supporting that headline and giving the customer additional context as to what we're asking them to do. Now, long copywriting, so if you have to write longer paragraphs, can be good if you have a product that maybe is more expensive or requires more information to help persuade the customer to take action. But usually we want to keep the content on the page short and sweet. Now, different audiences are going to require different language and different kinds of words. So it becomes really important to know who you're talking to and how they want to be interacted with from a business to consumer standpoint. Some consumers wouldn't mind for a more casual form of conversation, whereas others would want it to be more professional. So keep that in mind when you're writing your copy. And you also want to use customer feedback to inform that copy in the same way. Now, social proof, so that's the idea of bringing in testimonials and other things that your customers might share about your product or service that might help. Those are also considered copywriting. So you don't want to just choose anything that someone has said. You want to make sure it's in line with the language and the style in which you talk to your customers. And don't forget microcopy. These are the things on the page that maybe you have to share as a legal or compliance reason. That's all still important and should be easy to read for your customers so that they understand what they're getting into. Now, here's a great example of copywriting for the investment app Robinhood. Now, as you can see, Robinhood made a very clear statement with their headline of their value proposition, $1 commissions. So they don't sugarcoat it, they don't add any fluffy language, they got really succinct and straight to the point. You can also see that there's not a lot of navigation here or competing messages. It's all very geared on getting the customer to sign up. So this is what we mean by good copywriting. It gets all of the key messages into one or two phrases on the page and then directs the customer to take an action. Now, calls to action are really important because sometimes when there's a lot of competing content on a page, your customer doesn't actually know what they need to do. And then ultimately, that means that you don't get the outcome that you're looking for as a marketer. So if we take a look here at Netflix, it's very clear that on this page, you could sign up, but the main focus is for you to join. Now, you can see that they're using this page for 2 tasks, and signing up is secondary, so it's a little bit smaller and it's in the top header of the page, but the main focus is really signups. So as a marketer, I can tell that that's their goal here with this landing page. And yes, they have an avenue for you to take another action, but the focus is really on signups, and that's the same type of attitude I want you to have when you're building your landing page. You may have a lot of things that you want your customer to do, but you want to make sure the landing page is super focused on one thing. Now, here's an example of a great landing page that's educating your user. Now, as you can see, there's a headline, there's some nice imagery, and that's all above the fold or at the top of the page when you land on the landing page. But on the rest of the page, there's tons of information that help your customer really understand why they should take that action. And with landing pages like this, it's really important that you share all of that information and then give your customer another opportunity at the bottom of the page to take that same action that you asked them to do when they first landed on the page. Now, here's an example of a good and a bad landing page. Now, I would argue that the Chase example is the bad landing page. There's a lot of different things that you can do on the page, a lot of different pieces of content, call to action, buttons. It's saying a lot of different messaging all on one page, so it's not exactly clear what's the best step for me to take? Now, on the city landing page, they're only offering one product, and they give a lot of information and context around that one product, and then they offer another opportunity at the bottom of the page for me to learn more. So this is the difference with bombarding your customers with tons of messages about different things that they may find useful or might provide value, but confuses them in what action to take, versus streamlining that information and making a conscious decision about what you want to promote. Now, there's a lot of tools out in the world that you can use to build your landing page, so you don't have to necessarily know how to code. What's important is everything that we talked about, so how you set the content up on the page. I would encourage you to use any of these tools to play around, create a landing page, and see if you can launch a focused landing page marketing campaign.